Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Fred Razak at CM Trading. Today is December 21st, 2022, and today is Wednesday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, Apple stock going back to its yearly lows and Tesla also breaking lower. But first, looking at the major economic events of today. So at 3:30 South African time, out of Canada, we have a yearly CPI number coming out. And then at 5 p.m. South African time, out of the United States, a very important number, consumer confidence number coming out. Now, looking at the various markets, starting out with the Forex symbols, Japanese yen continues to gain, while most of the other major pairs kind of consolidate. Looking at the indices, the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ had a slight gain yesterday. Looking at commodities, gold breaks higher to $8.15 per ounce, and oil pretty much unchanged. Looking at the stocks as spoken, Apple breaking lower and also Tesla. And looking lastly at cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin unchanged. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So here we are. We're looking at the USD Japanese yen. You could see this nice nosedive. The other day, after Japan came out with their rate statement, they've been very aggressive. Okay, so out of all the countries in the world, the Japanese have really put as much money into the economy as they can, given the size of their economy and given the size of their population. So it has worked out so far. But I'm concerned in the long run that it's going to be one of those volcanic eruptions one of these days. And you can see this massive correction as we hit 152 down to 130. Okay, that's a 22,000 pip move over the past 2 months. And that's amazing, amazing trading. So we are hitting that supportish area right there on a daily, which is very important. And if we look on a longer time frame, on a weekly time frame, you can see how important that is, because this is really a very important area for us to bounce off. So consider this as a possibility for a bounce. Not sure how big of a bounce it's going to be, because it's going to be elongated. I mean, this move kind of went for about 2 months, okay, that we've sold off, and 2 months prior to that we went up. Okay, if you look at the time frames, then that correction could take 2 months as we make that correction into the half point. Now looking at the USD Canadian dollar as it's getting that CPI number later today, so we're looking at a 4-hour chart. It's pretty much consolidation, okay, about this 136-ish level, okay, and as we enter it, you could see that the two moving averages are actually crossing over right there. And looking at a daily, we're at the top of the range, also at the bottom of our trending upwards. Okay, if we look at that as well, so this is a nice trending upwards, and we're just about par with an 8-day moving average, so just consider that. Okay, now we are looking that we're making this wedges formation, could be. Okay, so CPI numbers around the world have been very instrumental about giving us some direction in the market, so I expect that to continue. Now looking next at the gold, this has been really interesting. It's tinkering up, boom, goes up. And sure enough, it's at 1815 right now. So it has gained quite nicely as we're entering that new phase. Is if there's consolidation in this type of, if there's agitation at this type of area, we can continue going up higher, maybe even breaking 1827. And if we break and clear that, we could surely go up to 1880. So keep that in mind. Not much happening in crude oil. As you can see, just consolidating at this level yesterday at 75.90. Again, it's been quite in a tight range as we've been looking at it. Now looking at the US markets, right now the markets are going just slightly down, 33,173, a nice gain the other day. It's almost 33,200, but I do anticipate some sort of sell-off at a certain point, okay, either in the Dow or the NASDAQ, as this is, major components of it are hitting lows, okay. The other day it was Amazon, yesterday it was Apple, okay, so let's take a look at that. Apple on its lows, that's agitating. Okay, if we look at a weekly chart, it's not going to give it to us so clearly, because remember, we had a massive stock split back in July, and so we are hitting that low. Okay, there's no question about it. We are hitting that low, and if we go lower here and break down to that 108, that could be a new low for Apple. Now looking at Amazon the other day, this was the one that really traded lower at $85 a share. And looking at Intel, turning on the downside, okay? Not with a lot of gust, but it's turning on the downside. And if we look at some of the other major stocks, okay, Microsoft also just staying alive here at 241. But again, a lot of weakness on the downside, and that's sorts of repetition. Now, Tesla's not a major bellwether, but it is a major stock. And, you know, we've been watching this just trickle down from 200 to 180, 180 to 170, 150, now 137. And if we look at a 4-hour chart, that's like, you can't write this stuff up. I mean, it's so, like, 1-hour chart, you can see. I mean, this is like, that's it. You know, like, at what point do you call this a downward trend? You know, that is clearly a downward trend. There's like, there's no, you know, there's almost, you know, a point of a few consolidations, but there's almost no point of pain just shorting this thing and letting it go on the downside. So I know everybody thinks Tesla's going to be the next big thing, but, you know, the financials have to be there. Okay. And this is a case in point when that happens. Lastly, looking at Bitcoin, unchanged. I expect it to be unchanged for quite some time, just because everybody watches cryptocurrencies. We kind of cover it, but all intents and purposes, not doing much. This is Fred Razak, and I wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.